Hi all, this is Kurt with 5 hacking tips. Today I wanted to do a walkthrough and go through one of the Hack the Box boxes out there. One in a series of a couple boxes that I've already done. Most recently, I think I did Nest walkthrough or Heist. I forgot which one it is. And here, let me go ahead and share my screen here. This is my Kali Linux box. I've already started the VPN. I'm already logged in. I started an instance of what I'm going to cover today, and that's curling, which is one of the last boxes. There's market dump here. It's more of a file analysis reverse challenge that I'll cover probably later on, if at all, because I'll cover reverse in a different manner. Anyway, so I've started up an instance and I'm just going to dive right in. So with this particular box, you run an nmap, you'll see that port 22 and port 80 are open. So with port 80 open, naturally you go and check out the site. And the name of the box or the challenge is curling. And it looks like it's a site about curling, a curling site. And we see some articles here written by super user, and then there's like a spiel written here, and then Flores is a name. So to be quite honest with you about this box, so full screen here because this is like, get this message right, because I made the same mistake. So with this box, it looks like it's what you naturally do, because at the time when I was first approaching this, I had been doing a lot of Burp Suite and doing some like interior stuff, and I thought, okay, that's what this is, and I started hacking away and trying to brute force the login form for either admin, and I used the name Flores and then tried super and different things, administrator, and went away at it and spent a lot of time doing that when I should have actually spent more of my time enumerating and looking at it as a whole. So, just going to the site like this, I kind of suspected it was a PHP site, or I think maybe Burp Suite was like indicating that. And I didn't really dive into like what could be behind it. In other words, I just didn't look at view the source code, right click and view the source code, which by the way, will get you arrested in certain states of the United States, whatever that is. I'm not going to dive into that. But so that's what this is. And that's the first step in the exercise. And that's the one thing I want to emphasize is if you go into here and you right click and there's view page source. So save yourself a lot of time by doing this every once in a while, or even taking this and copy and pasting it or whatever and dumping it in Notepad++ and doing a couple of control Fs and searching through it to see, for certain keywords like password, and understand where, those variables are referred to, and see if there's any comments around there or anything. And so, yeah, the long and short of it, after going after this for a while, and that was only the first step. This to me, I mean, it's an easy machine, but I think it's a little more medium from the get-go, because you just don't expect it to be so easy. It's one of those forehead slappers. So you can see right down here, it's kind of hard to see like that. I'm going to enlarge the font, but there's a commented secret.txt right there. So now if we go back to the site, and I think I already have that if I backspace now. Okay. If we go to the site, let me say secret text, we get this. And from looking at that, I kind of analyzed a little bit, and it looks like it's a base 64, so encoded. So let's try and decode that. And actually, this alone for me was a little bit of a thing to look at and try and figure out what it was. But taking that, we basically have and I am definitely working from notes here, but we basically run a curl command, and see what we can get. Actually, it's probably in command history here because I'm redoing this. So this IP address is the IP of the instance that I've spun up here. And we're basically telling curl to pull that secret.txt file and pipe it into base64 decoding. And it comes up with a password, curling 2018 exclamation point. So what does that password apply to? And that's the hint on the site. And a lot of times when you do these boxes, there's a hint that pops up, and it's many times it is like a username that may be on the site like this. And that's another reason why when you're going to brute force things, you take names off of the site itself. So if we go back to this site, the original site, or maybe even here, anyway, you can see it's in my history. So we put in Flores, and then it was curling 2018 exclamation point. And boom, we're there. It's actually where I left off when I hacked the box before this. Let me get that. So right now, if we look at these templates, we should actually just go one back. And if we look at these templates, you go into the main menu here. And in here, there's templates. You click on that, and it shows two templates. There's one that started, it says default for all pages not assigned. So this would be the template. It's a PHP template. So a lot of times with PHP and with PHP applications, remote code execution is possible just by injecting some PHP code into an index.php file or a page.php file or whatever PHP file is out there. And to test that, we're basically in this Joomla control panel, and we pull this template up. Actually, not that. We go in here and then we click on templates again. So we know that's the default, and it's this one down here. So if we look at the details and files, we click into that link, it will show like all of the files, and we'll have edit access to them. Here, I've expanded my screen quite a bit. What we do here to test for that remote code execution with this version of Joomla is we basically write, cut that out. Basically go over here. Yeah, system, and then system. And Palm. And that'll be a call that will, when it gets a request with a parameter pawn, it's going to execute that in the system per PHP. It's PHP allows that. Not always though, but so there we've saved it. So the way to test that is basically we go into, thank you, Firefox. Okay, there, it finally came up. So we have here is, let me enlarge that, and you can see that it responded with the ID command. So we do have remote code execution, and that right there, that's reverse shell capable right off of the bat. So once you've got that, you can probably get in is www-data or whatever, if it's an Apache, which it most likely is. So we'll just jump right to that. And basically that's a curl command. Um, and, um, and it does a reverse netcat. And you'll see the command right here because I'm going to copy and paste it. I'm not going to write it out. And then we need to set up a listener because that's going to basically send a. It's going off of that pawn parameter, and it's saying remove anything in tempf, and then it creates a buffer in tempf or a directory, and that's where we run our shell out of or the pipe out of. And so we need to set up something locally. We already have it listening right here on the other tab. Perfect. So hit that puppy and see how it comes back. And you can see right there we have shell. Who am I? And www-data. So where does that take us? That's quite quick, actually. That's a very easy one. That's a very vulnerable site. But like I said, initially it's a big forehead slapper because you spend time looking at the login and some other things, and don't really sit back and look at the big picture. So that was my fault there in kicking off on this machine. But getting that far, once you know where you're going with it, is quite easy. And then from there, what I've done is I've tried because it does have Python 3 enabled. I tried to get like using Python to get a real reverse, or to get a real TTY session going to spawn PTY. And unfortunately, from my notes and from my cherry tree notes from regular hacking notes, which is this, it doesn't seem to work off of here. It works off of the Kali on my WSG on my Windows 11 box, but it doesn't seem to work here. So basically, I'm just going to go ahead and interrogate around here. So print working directory, and I see I'm in var www.html. I want to see if I can get into home directories, and what we have Florist. Lo and behold. Okay, so within Florist's home directory, we look at what is there, and we have a couple files that are world readable. These R's right here, and one of them is password backup. So, what is that? Let's take a look at that. Basically, if we do like a cat password backup, sorry about that. I wanted to make sure that the camera was still on. So you can see there, it pops up. It looks like a binary file. It doesn't really give us a password. It says it's a password backup. Most likely, thinking from a defensive perspective, it's encrypted some way, or it's compressed some way. But we still, by looking at this, we don't know a whole lot about the contents. But what we do know about the contents by looking at this center section is that it's hex. So what we need is something like XXD or XGD, XXD, I think, XXD, and I think it's the -R flag or something to return it to its original binary format. Is like looks like something we would have to do there. So to try that, so basically copy CD over into temp and sorry, C into temp, and then CP Flores. And then from there, cat. Forgot what it was. I've got a quicker one here. It's piping it to the XXD command. So what I guess the lesson here is, because you don't really, like in pen testing, you don't find this kind of challenge a whole lot. This is kind of more like looking for a CTF kind of thing to me. But basically I'm going to run this command, which is it's basically doing what I was going to do. I was going to cat the password back up and then pipe it into XXD, like I said, -R, and then basically redirect that out to file named back. So when we do that, we're recovering it. And if we run file, and that's what this is about, running the file command and looking at the file format. So right here, it says that it's a bzip2 file. So basically this is a rigmarole, and but if you just keep on following this, I tell you the truth, to get through this, I got hinted a couple times in the forums and that kind of thing. So if we look at file back dot out, it's a gzip, basically a gzip file. So to make that easier, let's move back dot out to a back dot gz, right? And then what is this gzip? Yeah, -d back dot gz, and what does that give us? And that gives us a back, and right, that's what I meant to say. And bzip to compressed data. So we're back at bzip2, and then it's -d, and it's back. And file back dot out. POSIX, it's tar. So move back dot tar. Is that, yeah? Did I actually do that, or did I just go ahead and let it rip? Yeah, I'm just gonna let it rip. Back over here. Tar -x df, and then back that out. Ooh, and that gives us password. Check, and that's Floris's backed up password. So now we know we've got port 2022 open. So what I tried to do was create a regular Python PTY, and I managed to do it on another system that I have, but this is running basically VMware. The other one is running Windows Subsystem for WSL, sorry, Windows Subsystem for Linux, but it's running a Kali version of that. And in there, I managed to just su Floris and then show the password and be as Floris in the same shell without having to log off and log back on. But what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to pull out of this because I know the password now. Oh, by the way, and then don't forget to get the user.txt file from Floris's home folder so you can plug it into hackthebox. So here basically we've come on. Okay. So what I want, and you see I've already gone in there as Floris, and then we get this password. We've already got. Right. There we go. Okay, so that's foothold, and that was what I promised, was to get you to foothold. I will drop some hints for getting root on this box, and it's about cron jobs. And basically poisoning cron to send a reverse shell back. The way that I would recommend doing that is basically just using a tool, or just using the PS command and repping it to something to find out the process IDs, what they're running as, and where they're running from. And you're going to look in there, and there's going to be a cron job or two, and there's going to be an interesting one running in the context of Floris, and it's basically cron job poisoning. Enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm wondering how long this was, but I hope it wasn't too long. I try and squeeze them in as tight as I can, but of course walkthroughs take a little more time. These are going to be about 20 minutes, maybe even 30 minutes or longer. Enjoy. And this was curling on Hack the Box. By the way, love all the support. Keep it coming. Over 1,400 users almost as of today. I appreciate the support, and subscribe, like, and ask questions, please. Talk to you later.